Hello everyone, I'm here today with a new process video and I have a fun layout happening here. It's technically a 6 by 12, but it has a flip built in. So I'm actually getting 6 extra spaces here. They're all vertical 3 by 4s. You can see I've placed some photos already where I think I want them, but I have two kind of odd things happening here. One is I have this business card, which is just floating in there because I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it. I definitely want this side though, because we did do this cruise where we had drinks and cheese while on the canals. It was lovely. So I don't necessarily need this part, but I liked this. And then here, I took a picture of part of the cheese plate and I don't remember what I was doing, but I had a really weird angle and I didn't like what was over here. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to cut it at the angle and then I'll figure out a way to kind of make a card behind it and do something fun with it. But I'm not sure what that's going to be. I have to be honest and say, cutting photos like this is not my forte. I'm used to it fitting in the pocket and then I just add things on. That's more my jam, but I'm willing to give it a try because I don't like getting into a rut with how I scrap. And I feel like when I have some different elements like this, it challenges me to figure out some different things to do. So I think part of my plan is to get on Pinterest and see if I can find any type of photo in a pocket that's like this, where it's an unusual angle or they did something fun with it like that, and then hopefully I'll find something that I can scrap lift. So the first thing I have done is I've gone into my bin of stuff for this trip and pulled out my cards. So I have my 4x6s because some of these maybe I could cut down to fit into a 3x4 space, and then obviously all my 3x4s. And then I pulled these out as well because I think the colors work well with what I've got going here. And the fact that this one, I assume they made that to look like Amsterdam. It sure looks like that to me. The colors kind of work here. I've got yellow, I've got red. It's happening. So maybe I can use that one in one of the pockets. I don't know that it would work to put it over a photo anywhere because this is kind of big. And side note here, gonna go off track for a second. I have noticed embellishments and chipboard pieces, things like this, seem to be getting bigger. And I realize that they are probably designed with a 12 by 12 scrapbooker in mind, but I am not a 12 by 12 scrapbooker anymore, not even in pockets. 6 by 12 is probably the biggest I do. I tend to do that. 6 by 8, 3 by 8, 4 by 8. These are harder for me to use because of their size. Again, they almost take up an entire pocket. And so I'm giving up that space just for one embellishment to use these a lot of times. That kind of irritates me a little bit, but I have them. They're fun, they're cute. I'm going to try to use them. In my stack of cards, I had this one in there. And I have to say, normally I'm not a fan of these. I don't like numbered cards like that. I just find them harder to use. But I think I might be able to use it here. I could put it in this pocket up top. The blue definitely matches. I've got blue happening in multiple photos. And it would give me the chance to journal like the top 3 reasons of why we chose to do this the night that we arrived. Because obviously we were jet lagged. And I could be like, 1, it was a nice light snack after we had our main dinner, just a little wine and cheese. We got history of Amsterdam as we floated on the canal. And frankly, it allowed us to be lazy because we were tired. We could sit back on the cushioned bench, that was on the boat and not have to do anything. And they just drove us around while we sat there in peace. So it was kind of a nice option to have. So I'm thinking it might be okay to use this one. I would use that up there because this is going to go down here. I'm going to have to do it sideways unless I choose to cut it, which I might. Haven't decided yet, but that'll be down here. I could work in some green because I've got green happening in multiple photos, even behind here maybe, but that solves this pocket. And then I do think over here that I'm going to use this chipboard. So I really need to just find a background color for it, but I definitely want to use it. I've got my chipboard piece here and I've decided to go red as the background because I do have some underneath here as well. And I just feel like, oh, you'll have a pop here and just a little bit back here, which is nice. And there's a lot of blue happening, so I want to liven it up. I only found 2 pieces of paper though where I liked the pattern. This is a little wild, but I like it. It makes me think of the spokes on the bike here and the flowers intertwined. It's got a floral pattern in there. When you put this on it, your eye will still be drawn to this because of that white background. But I also like this one. It's a little more subtle. Again, the lines here do make me think of this, even though this is a wheel pattern, it's got straight lines. So the grid, it doesn't throw me off when I look at them together. But I'm just not sure if that's enough pop. Do I want the crazy sort of in your face pattern, or do I want more subtle? I'm not sure yet. What would you pick? I know it's personal taste, but I'm having a hard time deciding. I've decided to go with this red option, and it's only because I did love the other one, but I picked out this green for the background, and when I had them next to each other, that other red one, I think it was just way too wild. I feel like this is a little more subtle so that when these are next to each other, it's not super crazy. I do have the option where I could move some of these around if I wanted as well, just so that these weren't next to each other. But for the most part, I like their placement, so I don't know that I want to do that. If I did, I probably would just switch these two so that this would be here and then you'd see the boat peeking out. There would be a little red next to each other. No, that would move over, so this would be here. Oh, maybe that is a better option then. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I'll move it over and see what I think of it. I did decide to move some photos around. This will still stay here, but I moved these on the inside. I decided to move the boat over to the inside flap, and then this will stay over here, but then the card, I'll have an empty spot there. So it'll end up with this, and this, and then I'll have a card there next to this. This side will just be here, so that kind of stays the same, but then I have to figure out embellishments for all of this. So I still have work ahead of me. Well, I feel like I'm all about the pattern today, because when I was looking for something to put behind this card, I picked out this paper. I really like the yellow. It works with the flowers here. This is more of a mustard, but I think it's a close enough yellow in between these two that it'll be fine. But then I've got like 3 patterns working, but you know what? That's okay. None of them are super crazy. They're not as out there as that red one, I don't think. So I'm going to use this one. I think this is 4 inches already this way. Yes, so all I have to do is cut this down to 3 the other way, and I've got my background, so that makes it pretty easy. Then I have to figure out, do I want to cut it like maybe to there? That doesn't look bad, actually. I was thinking this way originally to get the whole thing, but I'm really not losing much. You can still see the name over here. Yep, I think I'm going to cut it that way. I did pick out my card for this spot. I love that it says, "Life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful." We were definitely very tired when we did this, and had we been wide awake and first thing of the day, we would have been, you know, way more enthusiastic about it. But this was fine. It was a good activity at the end of a very long day, so I feel like that saying is pretty perfect. Now that I've got those picked out, I want to start working on what I'm doing on the front here, and I've decided I'm going to stamp on this one, and I'm going to use white. I haven't done that in a long time, so I hope this is still good. I haven't used this in quite some time, so hopefully I won't open it up and it's completely dried out. But I have to pick out a stamp for here, and I want to do it right in the water area here because that's the darkest area of the photo, so this will show up the best. So I just have to pick something appropriate that also fits size-wise. I have picked out my stamp set that I want to use, and this one is, let me see here, it's from the Arrival set by Paper Person. So that's also Kelly Perky. She rebranded as Paper Person. So if you like this one, that's who makes it. I have no idea if it's still available, but you can check the site and see. And when I was looking at these, There were several that I liked, but I think I'm gonna do the one by the water because we were on the canal, and frankly, I'm not a beach person. I do go to the ocean, but rarely, and it's like to sightsee. I don't sit in the sand. That's just not something I enjoy. So when really am I gonna use that? Probably not a lot, so I might as well use it here. All right, there you can see my stamping, and it came out perfectly. So clearly this is still good. So as long as you keep it closed and I store them upside down, it seems to be fine. So I'm definitely happy about that. I decided to use the same set here with this stamp. I forgot that it had an arrival and departure on there, but I thought, well, I could use that and then just write in the time that our tour started. So I stamped that as well. Did my stamping, I wrote in the time, and then I think I'm actually going to take one of these little geotags here and put it right up here, kind of to the left, overlapping the business card, because I do have blue happening in multiple places, and then that will go right there. For this card, I'm going to add this sticker here, I think. This is from Citrus Twist. I love this little puffy sticker. I like that the camera and the little Polaroid colors, they match. So I think maybe I'll just, let me see how this is gonna look. I'll just put that up there. I have something stuck to it. There we go. So I didn't end up doing anything super fancy there, but you know what? It works and it'll be okay. On this photo, I feel like I have a lot of dead space down here. And being that it's kind of heavy to the bottom, like I want something a little more exciting there. So I think I'm actually gonna use this same sheet of stickers, and I'm gonna use this one that says "Let's Go" because it's got the right color scheme happening, that kind of orangey red I have in several places. Sometimes that's a little hard to use, but it seems like this one would work quite well. So if I've got these two over here, I think I want this one kind of towards the bottom, maybe like here. Let's see, so that'll sit like that. I think so, yeah. So there, I've got that one. And then I had contemplated if I needed something up here, but I feel like I've got too much going on this side, so I don't want to add something here. It would have to probably be on this card, which I don't know that I want to do that because it's already numbered. So I think I'm going to leave this as is. So here's how it looks in the album, and then here's with the flip. I think I'm going to leave it as is. I can always add something later, but for now, here's another one finished for Amsterdam. Thanks for watching.